Next, we'll have a encore performance from the Ashland Taiko Band, drummers.
This is a piece called Hiryo Songan Daishi, written by Daihachi Oguchi, grandmaster who started taiko in this wadaiko form. There's a prayer that comes in between each one of the verses. Narita prayer. Please pardon my Japanese. Ten ga shoku okusai senne. Is that right? Something like that. Anyway, it means, translated, to take a bad situation, something that's hard, and find good in it, to have a long and prosperous, happy life. Hiryo Songan Daishi.
Are you guys available for SOU football games for the pregame, run out? This would be really good for us. Thank you very much. A couple more speakers here before we wrap up here. Pleasure to introduce a new person into the program right here. He's been a fixture in our community with his creative talents, professor of art at Southern Oregon University, Miles Inada.
Hello. Welcome. And thank you, Coach Hall, for the kind invitation to be here at this peace ceremony today. I wanted to say a few words of welcome and appreciation for all of the student athletes participating in the Pacific Rim Bowl, the organizers and facilitators, and the families and community members supporting this fantastic event. I was born and raised here in Ashland, and my wife, middle school language arts teacher Julie Von Inada, and I are both proud Grizzlies who graduated from good old Ashland High School way back in 2014. 1984. We've also been lucky enough to return to Ashland and raise our son, Sam Inada, who graduated from Ashland last year. Though my son and I were both soccer players, I know how high school sports played a huge part in both of our lives, as it does for all of us here today. As Bill Shankly, the manager of Liverpool Football Club, from 1959 to 74 said, but I think it applies to us, some people think football is a matter of life and death. I assure you, it's much more serious than that. So as I said, he was talking about the other football, but clearly it's a sentiment that applies to us here today. I also welcome you as a proud Yonsei, a fourth-generation Japanese American. From the work of my father, the Sansei poet Lawson Inada, and the stories of my grandparents, relatives, and friends, and from the work of historians such as Precious Yamaguchi, who's going to be talking to you here today, and from our president, Roy Saigo, I know the history of how our family, along with thousands of others, migrated from Japan to the United States to work in fields, factories, and fish stores, building new lives with hard work and dedication. And I know how my grandpa, who was born next to the fields his parents worked in picking strawberries near Gilroy, California, was able to go to University of California, Berkeley and become a dentist, and how he met my grandma wearing a suit that was far too hot for a summer day like today, and how they had my dad, Lawson, in Fresno, California in 1938. And I know too how my grandparents, their parents, and my 3-year-old dad, along with their friends, families, parents, and grandparents, were ripped from their homes and communities and imprisoned without trial with over 100,000 other Japanese Americans during World War II. Finally, I welcome you all today as an artist, an animator, and as a professor of art and emerging media at Southern Oregon University, where I've been lucky enough to work for over 20 years. And as one of the roles of an artist is to study, think, and do creatively, I want us to think of this Pacific Rim Bowl not as simply an event, but as an event, an act of creative imagination. I feel that sports and football and the arts and this ceremony and Friday's game intersect here at this very critical point as acts of creative imagination. For sport and art, two things often labeled as trivial, disposable, a luxury, or as non-essential, are in fact central to the very meaning of what it means to be alive, of what it means to be human, and about our shared survival and future. 75 years ago, our world, our cultures were devastated, brutalized, and infected by war on a global scale. A war built on the logic of nationalism, expansionism, and survival in a ghoulish zero-sum universe, where the exploding of atomic weapons over densely populated cities was seen as a justifiable and necessary act. This kind of horror is only justifiable under the cold, abstract logic of corporatized, mechanically industrialized death, of casualty statistics, wastage rates, and collateral damage. a logic that can only make sense to us in a comfortable space thousands of miles from its horrific consequences, a space where the results of our actions are hidden from us by a smooth veneer of high technology and comfort, and a story of our own righteous superiority and control. If, at the dawning of what scientists have christened the Anthropocene era, the current geological age in which human activity has become the dominant influence on climate and the environment, in which the fossil record of the Earth itself will show clear evidence of the trash and destruction we've visited upon our planet, if at this time of unprecedented human dominance, we cannot imagine a world in which this infection of war and unchecked industrialization cannot be cured, we are all of us well and truly doomed. But against this grim backdrop stands the beauty of events like today. In this beautiful park, in a place still protected and kept beautiful in recognition of values more important than money, production, or statistics. Here today and all this week, the Pacific Rim Bowl is an act of imagination, of passion, of bravery, of celebration. Being here today is an expression of what it means to be alive here and now. An envisioning of the world we want to build for the future and for each other. To come together like this in peace, in sport, in friendship is an act of tremendous life-saving imagination, a profound creative gesture. To come together like this as we do today is to choose the world of life, of joy, and of possibility. This week, as we open our homes and hearts to each other, as we live and play together, making new friends and colleagues, we say, this life matters, our collective lives matter, and we will love and help each other in protecting our commons, our world, not from each other, but from ourselves. Together, today, we are building a world where, as the Oregon writer Walida Imarisha writes, the fantastic liberates the mundane. I'll close by sharing a poem written by my father, Lawson Inada, about being a boy in the World War II Japanese-American internment camps, in which he remembers his life, community, and world before the war. It's a poem about the transformative power of the imagination, and though the conceit is a looking backwards, I think it is ultimately a poem about the future and imagining the world we would like ourselves and our children to inhabit. The Legend of Home. Home, too, was out there. It had names like Marysville, Placerville, Watsonville, and Lodi. And they were all big cities, or at least bigger than camp. And they were full of trees and grass with fruit for the picking, dogs to chase, cats to catch, on streets and roads where Joey and Judy lived. Imagine that. The blue tricycle left in the weeds somewhere. And when you came to a fence, you went around it. And one of those homes not only had a tunnel, but an overpass that when you went over, revealed everything, going on forever up to a gleaming bridge leading into neon lights and ice cream leaning double-decker. Imagine that.
Thank you, Miles.